this season, I think an overarching theme has been conflict between brothers, family, really. And if you think about it, that's kind of been like the driving thing going back to the first season, right? Where sure you have the street stuff going on, but this conflict within these families. And this season has become more apparent because we've seen more of Unique at home, given that he now has his brother to interact with, right? Prior to this, we knew that he had his child's mother, he had his son, but we never really saw Unique at home until the start of this season, right? But when you think about it, Ronnie and Unique, they're brothers, but there's this tension between them, largely due to Ronnie and his actions. When you look at the relationship between Kanan and Famous, where they're not like blood brothers, but they've been friends since, the age of 4? They've been through things together, this thing of them shifting from being boys to young men and then hopefully ultimately men. They're going through different experiences with each other, with each other in tow. And so here you have it where for some time they will live in together. Kanan has this hustle going on. Last season when Freddie ran up on them and grabbed, Famous's chain, and then the money that Kanan was carrying, the two of them then went and got it back from him. Unfortunately, Famous made the bad decision to then later go back and to try to rob Freddie, and that just went terribly wrong. And we see it coming back around now. But here in this season, as Kanan becomes more hardened and, in his determination to be free of RAQ and then also to make his own money, this single-minded focus to make his own money, we saw in one of the earlier episodes where he actually, slaps Famous, threatens Famous about RAQ, about what would happen if he lets RAQ back into the apartment. And then here you have it where Famous is arrested, right? Even just last season, when the two of them were arrested leaving Freddie's apartment, Kanan got away, but then he made arrangements with Howard for him to get Famous out, right? And now, in this season here, Famous gets arrested, and Kanan doesn't really make any moves to try to get him out of prison, right? We saw it in just the second or the third episode or something like that, when one of the couriers got arrested, or was that last episode? Whichever episode it was, when one of the couriers got arrested, Kanan got Lou to go and help get the kid out. Here you have it where Kanan makes no such move, right? And when Famous gets in, he explains to Kanan fully what happened and whatnot, that, the money's being held, but Kanan, and it's something that Famous points out, that, Kanan shows no real regard for him. I understand Kanan, Famous comes clean and tells Kanan that he killed Freddie. And I understand Kanan telling Famous, don't ever speak on it again, to keep it quiet, and asking him if he said anything to the cops and whatnot. I understand that, but it's the way that he goes about it. Where them and this street stuff already and getting money and whatnot, you can already see it forming cracks in their relationship, right? A lot of it, Famous is kind of consistent in his character, but some of it is a result of Kanan changing. This kind of burgeoning aggression that you see coming on. It's it's changing the nature of the relationship between Famous and Kanan. So it's this thing of, and even Famous mentions it, this thing of them where they're supposed to be brothers, and it's you see where Kanan is willing to use Famous's apartment, to live there and whatnot. He's willing to use Famous to help him to run this weed selling business. And to some degree, Famous uses Kanan as well, as he'd be out on the street without him. But their brotherhood is becoming less about friendship, or at least their former brotherhood is becoming kind of sullied by the street stuff that they're getting into. And as we see, Kanan is to some degree becoming more about himself and the things that he wants and what he's trying to achieve and accomplish, to the point where you see that bringing some tension and bringing some problems, or especially bringing some what's sure to become distance in his relationship with Famous, with him threatening Famous and this kind of stuff. Marvin shows up and he's kind of given RAQ a rundown of the things that are happening in the neighborhood, like little tidbits of info that he's picked up. The key one being that Dean was murdered, right? And then secondly, that he's put some club into this business. He's put some money into this club that Lou is trying to rebuild, right? Or to turn around. And RAQ is just like really negative towards it. Now, looking at that whole entire exchange, because Marvin explains that it's his way of supporting Lou trying to do something else, right? Like, that's his little brother, and he's going to try to support him and help him however he can. And so he lends him the money. RAQ's immediate retort is, whatever money he's lent to Lou should be considered like basically a donation because he's not getting it back. Now, we know that she's given Lou money in the past, but like, she just completely brushes aside the idea of supporting him, right? And Marvin even goes on to say, like, beyond the finances, that he's putting together this event. Sounds like another musical showcase, and it'd be nice if, like, all of the family shows up. Now, whether or not Lou would want RAQ to be there remains to be seen, but that she's just, like, immediately negative on it. Whereas RAQ has really caused a lot of problems for Lou, not so much the other way around. I don't really get why she's angry at him. He has many, many reasons to be angry at her, and I mean, well, granted, if you think about it, her anger towards him could be as a result of money, her having loaned him a lot of money, her, him like taking money for his problems with the studio and the record label and whatnot. So maybe that's part of her issue. But at the same time, I kind of wonder if it's not a matter of like jealousy, where RAQ would like to get out of this business, but, and she's purchased these properties, but they seem like they're going to be problems. But here it is that Lou is trying to get out of the business, and, he had his dealings with the record label. He messed that up and made some mistakes there, but now he has another opportunity. I wonder if it's not a matter of jealousy in that Lou has some kind of talent or ability outside of the stuff that they do on the street, and he can put that to some use, right? Like, immediately. He has some other avenues and outlets for things that he can do outside of the streets to support himself. And for RAQ, it's like, what else can she really do aside from sell drugs? So it's like, is it a matter of jealousy that Lou might be able to get out of the game and stay out of the game? Whereas, at least at this point, RAQ doesn't really seem to have very many alternative ideas. And so there's some jealousy on her part towards him having like these other opportunities, so it remains to be seen. Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, go ahead and click the thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.